Those of you who are watching this, I don't know if you caught us last Tuesday, but we've started to do this new series called Tuesday Talks with the iThrive team, where every Tuesday, 4 to 5, there will be members of the team and we'll come and talk about things that we've been working on. So last week, Avinash, Rusty, and Suyash spoke about men's wellness and men's health from topics ranging around sexual well-being, erectile dysfunction to difficulties with men's health. Today, Avinash and I are covering this topic called how to maintain good health in old age. Not because we are the two oldest people in the team, but we are,
Yeah.
but it's not.
How old are you, Mugdha? I am
I
48.
I I turned 45. No, wait.
No,
This is
you
2022.
will
No, I
be
turned 44 this year, and you are going to turn 48
48 next week.
next week. But yeah, no, we aren't qualified for this topic just because we are the oldest people in the team.
Hmm.
We are speaking about this because we've actually worked with a lot of people whom we would consider in the old age kind of category, right? People who are in their 60s and above. And we just thought we should talk about this because often people think that once you start aging, poor health is natural and it's okay to fall sick and to become physically dependent on other people in the family, etc., etc. But we wanted to talk about how we really worked around. Like our clients, like we've had people in their 80s also who come to us and have seen like really great results in terms of their health. So we just want to talk about that. So here is Avinash and here is me.
Yeah,
And while we are the two oldest people at iThrive, that's not why we are talking about this. Avinash,
actually, both of us take the average age of the team by almost four
yeah,
years. Otherwise, the
otherwise
average age is around 21.
I know we have 18-year-olds working. They're born in the year that like I finished my graduation. I can't even comprehend that. But anyway,
Some of them are like younger than my kids. So yeah, no, I am really old arithmetically. My son has
chronologically,
already, yeah,
yeah.
chronologically, I am old. But coming back to that question, who is the old person? Is it the mentality, the psychology behind the numbers? Your 50s, 60s? Because I know people, I am a runner. So I know people who are in their 70s and they're fighting fit. They run marathons, they do cycling, long distance cycling, and all that. And the the difference what I have noted about their attitude towards life has changed the way they carry themselves. So it is not the physical health that I was looking at. I was looking at their mental makeup and how the vision or the purpose of their life. So what is your take on Mugdaki? How do we consider the arithmetic, the chronological age, or the psychological or the attitudinal age? Rather?
When I was 29 and as my 30th birthday had approached many years ago, I had panicked because I had thought, as like for the longest time when I was a kid, I had thought that the minute you become 30 years old, you become old. So even when I was 29, I had panicked that, oh my God, I'm like becoming 30. I'm going to be an old person now. Now I'm going to be 44 and I don't feel old at all. Like I keep telling people that like these 18, 19-year-olds, they get tired, they have no energy. And I am like, I was on a 2 day. I did like a 48-hour water fast. I was not consuming anything other than water and I still had more energy than them.
Yeah.
Like someone sitting with headache.
At least I don't use lift while going down.
So I don't know if chronological age is really an indicator of age, but let's assume that for today, demographically, we are speaking about people who are, let's say, 60. Like, can we say that's old age? My uncle would beat me up if I said 60 was old age.
I'm thinking about our investor health.
So maybe not 60, maybe 70. Can we say 70 upwards is like
Yeah,
old age?
70 should be right.
All right. Okay, let's agree on that. That
Yeah,
70 upwards is
65,
old
70.
age.
We are on the safer side.
Yeah, you decide 65 or 70.
No problem. Let's stick to 60.
Okay, so let's assume it's like 65 and above that we are talking about today.
Yeah.
And basically, see why we're doing this is not to be discriminatory in any way in terms of people's age, but generally that's where the wear and tear on the body starts becoming super apparent, and dependency on other people really increases. So
Hmm.
you could end up being physically dependent, or in terms of your mental health also, things could start going wrong because your cognitive abilities are declining, your brain health is not what it used to be. So memory and all of that starts becoming a problem. So that's why we want to talk about it. So we, and like I said earlier, we've had actually patients, clients whom we worked with in that
So
age group.
I have my own experience. I
Sure.
want to share my own experience. Dealing with old age. So rather than dealing with the old age, how abusing my body during first 40 years of my life has affected or impacted even now. Although I am following all the healthy practices, I given up on smoking, drinking. I do regular exercises, but that wear and tear use I did to the organs during first 40 years of my life, not doing exercise, waking up late and binge watching, eating any junk food and drinking and smoking. So what I have noticed with myself is my recovery period goes up, right? Wear and tear happens often. Like if I fall down, I will have that niggle which will not go away
Right.
very easily. All those small things keep adding. I had BP, so thanks to you and I could get rid of it. I was on medication for 12 years. So getting people to understand what they have done in their younger life, where the target is to build your body, build your metabolism, inculcate good habits so that that can last you for whatever age you want to live like 90, 95, 100. And that is what has not happened. Now how do people like me who have abused their bodies till their 40s or middle ages or existential crisis recover metabolically as well as physically? So can you give us some ideas based on whatever clients you have handled so far?
Right. Like even in your own case, for example, or based on the client, see, right, always our work begins with blood tests because, people can report assorted symptoms. They can report like delayed recovery, or they can report fatigue and memory issues and all that. But unless you know what's really causing it, there's no point in treating it, right? So when somebody comes to us with the kind of issues that you mentioned, whether they've abused their body or not, like you did, for
Yeah.
whatever reasons that, and so did I, right? Like because we were mentally, emotionally in different places in our life, and food, alcohol, smoking, these were the things that we resorted to kind of numb the pain. But even someone, let's like my dad, for example, right? He's lived a pretty clean life. He's eaten home cooked food only mostly. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. However, the environment that we live in now is loaded with toxins. There's so much EMF and radiation. Sleep cycles have gotten disrupted. WhatsApp University keeps him awake most times. So his body's natural recovery processes or natural regenerative processes have slowed down. So always, right, whether there was abuse involved in the early 20s, 30s, 40s, or whether it's just naturally because of the virtue of living in today's times, if aging is causing both physical or mental dysfunction, like you're not at your optimal capacity, it becomes important to know why. Now, in most people's cases, it's usually deficiencies that's the number one root cause. Okay, because as like my grandparents lived in a much more rich environment in terms of
Cleaner surrounding, yeah, environmentally clean.
it was environmentally clean, the food quality was superior, there was like very little in like impact of fertilizers, pesticides. They would buy local from their like farmers and everything, so they ate clean food, the environment was clean, and their lifestyles were really beyond the sedentary lifestyles, right? So they actually aged pretty well. Like my grandmom had all her teeth intact until the day she died. She was
Wow.
physically active, unlike my mom. So my mom actually became wheelchair dependent in the last 4.5, 5 months of her life. My grandmom was like on her 2 feet until the day she died. So I mean, last 2, 3 days, of course, because her body, like she was not eating food and all. Last 2, 3 days she was bedridden, but otherwise she was pretty good. And that's what I see, right? Like as our exposure becomes worse to the toxins and the soil depletion, our deficiencies, inherent things that our body requires to continue to regenerate and replenish itself have become lesser. So always we've seen this, even with the clients who come to us, that number one root cause for people losing their functionality is deficiencies, from something as simple as a magnesium deficiency to even slightly complicated ones like an omega 3. B complex is something that most people are deficient in, right? So we've seen that supplementing with the basic ones, like the essential line that we have, which is our magnesium, our B complex, our zinc, and our omega 3, just supplementing with this
Mm.
along with probiotics. And I'll talk about why
Yeah.
probiotics are important. But these four,
Yes.
like that's why we started off with these essentials also. Supplementing with these four from our own line of supplements immediately brings a huge turnaround in their energy levels and recovery. So
Yes.
that's my like that's what I've seen first. What else do you think, Avinash?
So,
I mean, yeah,
when I interact with the people from the older generation, like my parents' age or the uncle's age kind of category, so a lot of things are taken for granted. बुढ़ापा है तो ये तो होना ही है. It's like
right,
pains and aches and all kinds of lifestyle diseases. कि बुढ़ापा है तो diabetes तो होना ही है. बुढ़ापा है तो BP तो होना ही है. Even people
right,
now suffering from Parkinson's and
right,
Alzheimer's, those kind of diseases or dysfunctions are taken for granted. कि due to old age, this is going to happen. But
right.
is it, I mean, how is our body structured? How is, or metabolically, are we susceptible to this kind of degeneration over a period of time? Suppose you don't abuse your body the way I did. Is it possible to live a very healthy and, with all organs intact kind of life without
No,
any pains?
I do think age induced degeneration does happen because our telomere lengths, like, I won't get too geeky about it, but telomeres basically the length starts shortening. Every time our DNA replicates, every time our genes replicate, there is some loss of information. It's like, Xerox, like when you
Yeah,
make
yeah.
photocopies, like
Mm.
as you keep making copies, it starts getting faded and faded. So there is also this age-related sarcopenia where we start losing muscle mass. Like it happens because your body doesn't see the utility of muscle unless you're weight training intentionally. So it happens. So aging actually, if not taken care of with the right kind of tools. Avinash, your screen is frozen. Is that my internet or is that yours? Can
Yeah,
someone from the
it's
audience?
your, it was freezing.
Yeah.
It was your, is it okay now? I mean,
Yeah,
I am able to hear and see.
yeah, yeah. You're okay now.
Yeah,
So I was
it's
saying
okay.
that
Yeah.
age-related decline does happen, but
Mm.
there are a lot of mitigation strategies to prevent that, like age-related sarcopenia, where you start losing muscle mass, which then causes a lot of injuries, like hip and knee injuries. So
Yeah.
thank you, Manju. Glad to know that you can see both of us. So age-related sarcopenia happens, age-related cognitive decline happens. So it does happen, but there are strategies to mitigate that. So that is what is important to know. So our bodies do come in today's times. Like we can look at like the autobiography of a yogi, and we can look at. I think it's your internet, Avinash, because you're freezing. Do you want to switch to a different line? Until he does that, I'm going to talk more about like the immortals that I've read about. So you have these fables and these myths of Babaji Nagrajnath, who is like 3,000 years old, and we hear of like ancient sages and people who have figured out how to be immortal. But I'm a modern day human, and most of the people listening to this are modern day humans too. So for us, we actually can expect a certain degree of age related decline. There are a lot of biohackers like Dave Asprey and Ben Greenfield who are actively researching how to extend both the quality and quantity and the health span of life. And that's what I'm saying. So there are like the body does come with a auto destruct certain kind of a timer which is like death. You can extend that time and you can prevent a lot of damage, or you can reverse a lot of damage that can make it worse towards the end. That's my
So I was
perspective.
also, yeah, I work with people's mind. So I a lot of
Right.
people across, age demographics and domains. So what I have seen, the people who have a purpose in their life or who look forward to doing something every day or every year or next year I want to do this, next year after that I want to achieve this. So they have a certain pull towards maintaining their health and maintaining their life. So by the time you reach some 60, 65, most of your desires or wishes are already taken fulfilled. And when those things are taken care, then you don't have something to look forward to. You take each day as okay, पास करना है और भगवान की राह देख रहे कब बुलावा आएगा. All these kind of dialogue you get to hear. So how does that psychological programming? I mean, even the society behaves like that. People themselves start accepting कि अभी बुढ़ापा आ गया, अभी तो सिर्फ मरना ही है या फिर काशी मथुरा जाके जो भी करने का है. So people start getting into that mode. So
Right.
is it the signal to your body from your mind? Now it is time to shut down, and accordingly your body responds by not functioning at their optimal level or shutting down one organ after another. Because you do a lot of work with the spiritual thing, you do a lot of work on the emotional side, and you must have seen these kind of phenomena where very very coherently together. So if your mind is telling you okay अभी कुछ करना बचा ही नहीं है, देखने के लिए कुछ बचा ही नहीं है, so is your body is going to tend to respond that way. It will pull the organ functioning down.
Your body listens to the thoughts that you might not even know and are conscious about, right? Like, so your body listens to everything. Your body is constantly taking instructions from your mind and from your soul, even from your deep subconscious, without you even consciously being aware of it. Like, the body is incredible, and maybe I'll just do like one talk on how incredibly protective and defense oriented the body is, and all the mad stuff it does to protect you. So it's always listening to you. Like, your body knows what you're thinking of, like, more than anyone else. So if you're thinking thoughts of okay, I, like, sab ho gaya, abhi mujhe jana hai, your body is like, okay, dude, let me do it for you. Right? So, like, sure, like, assignment accepted. Like, I know what my homework is, right? So, it'll start doing that in the back end. And you will wonder why you're having aches and pains, and why your digestion is like going off for a toss, or why your liver is not functioning well, or why is your heart like going through palpitations or slowing down.
Yeah, a lot of people come to us with this kind of complaint कि
Yeah,
हमारे पास तो सब कुछ अच्छा है, हम खाते भी अच्छा है, रहते भी अच्छा है,
yeah,
बहुत पैसा है, everything is taken care, daughter, son-in-law, son, everyone is fine,
yeah.
daughter-in-law is fine, but फिर भी I am getting this pain and aches and all kinds of dysfunction in the body. Is
So,
it because their mind has given up?
it is because their mind has decided, and like, the mind has decided that what else to do now in life, right? It's ho gaya sab. Like, see, most people are living a very society mandated life, that they're supposed to finish their education, then they're supposed to kind of get a
It's a
job.
project based, like
It's a
एक
project,
project
right?
हो
Like,
गया तो
society says these are the milestones. Like, when a child is developing from 0 to 6 months, the pediatrician gives milestones like
yeah, these are
turning
this is
over, rolling on your back, crawling, standing, and all parents are like seeing, oh, has my child reached his developmental milestone or
there is a
not?
graph actually I saw
There's a
from
graph.
a
Similarly, that graph never stops. That graph society continues to give us right until adulthood, right? So, like, oh, okay, you finish school, then college, and then, like, for some people, the graph goes into going abroad for studies. For some people, the graph ends at like getting your degree here, then a job, and if you're a woman, then even being married becomes part of the graph. Even for
yeah,
men, it's part of the graph. And then after you're married, children. After children, then their education,
children
then
का
your
graph
house,
चल.
then your car and your EMI, then the children's marriage, and then for some people, children's children, so grandchildren. At the grandchildren point, they've ticked off all the boxes society has created for them, right? So their mind is like, I'm done, I can leave now. Usually that's when the body starts breaking down, because if you've told your body that you're done and you don't have any more purpose to exist, your body is just going to listen to you, right? So that's more from the psycho spiritual angle, because the soul has not identified its purpose. The soul is going to be like, okay, you didn't do what you were born for. Let's get out of this body and let's come back into another one. For those of you who might not believe in the reincarnation theory, I have news for you. It really happens. It's true. So your soul might decide to kind of
How
exit
do you
this
know
body
that,
and say
Mamta?
that
How do you know so many things about rebirth, regeneration? How do you know all these
that's
things? I
that's
always
that's
wondered.
that's another podcast. We will talk about that. I don't want to spook the people who are watching this right now too much, but yeah, so your soul is going to be like, नहीं किया तुमने तुम्हारा जो काम था, चलो इस बॉडी को छोड़ते और एक बॉडी में आ जाते हैं, राइट? एंड देन नेक्स्ट बॉडी यू कम अगेन, यू गो थ्रू द सेम सोसाइटी मैंडेटेड इंस्ट्रक्शन. इट्स अ नेवर एंडिंग लूप, एंड इट्स अ नेवर एंडिंग कार्मिक साइकिल. But yes, your body will know when you've thought of self destruction, and it doesn't have to happen at old age, Avinash. My body decided to self destruct when I was 38 because I was living that society mandated life, right? Which often spoken about. I was like the good daughter, I was like a good wife, I was a good mother, I was a good employee. I was what I think a good daughter-in-law, though my ex-in-laws might disagree. But but yeah, even the good wife thing, my ex-husband might disagree. But anyway, uh, at that time, like they all agreed that I was checking all of those boxes, right? But I was not doing what I was designed for. I am designed for this. I'm designed for creating a planet free of lifestyle diseases. I'm designed for creating a company that enables that. I'm designed for creating an academy that brings healers together and teaches healers how to heal themselves so they can heal the world. And I was not doing any of that, right? So at 38, I had an autoimmune condition. Like, autoimmune is what your body is breaking itself down, right? It's like suicide by lifestyle. I
Yeah,
didn't have the courage to commit suicide by taking cyanide or
true,
jumping
true.
off the balcony, though I had thoughts around that. I was doing suicide by lifestyle, like slow suicide, which was accepted by the world also, right? Like it's okay if you die of a heart disease. Otherwise, it's not acceptable. Anyway, so my body started destroying itself at 38. And when I found my purpose, again, this was at the 38 transition, right? When I found my purpose, when decided, oh my God, this is what I am empowered, and this is why God created me, and I'm going to fulfill this to the best of my capacity. It started reversing. Like, look at me now. You see my pictures from that time. I look like
Yeah,
my
yeah, it's phenomenal. It's like
yeah,
mind blowing.
yeah, and it's the same for you, right? Like that's your story as well.
Yeah,
Um, Share with the audience. Like I've shared my story so many times, the audience doesn't know about you.
no issues. For another time, they're going to listen to me again and again. Now that you
Yeah,
put
but
me into this chair, I'm going to share my story across all the channels.
super.
But coming back to the old age wala issue, like how do we maintain the good health that we talk about? Good health means functioning metabolism, functioning body. So you're able to take care of yourself. You're not dependent on anyone else, including medicines. You're not dependent on else someone to carry you around or lift you up. You are not dependent on all those pachak churna and kayan churna to get rid of your constipation in the morning. So what are those things that someone can do so that their old age become more manageable, become more joyous and more playful and more functional rather? That is what
Absolutely.
we talk about, like functional nutrition is all about that.
So it starts with getting your blood work done so that you can identify what's going on. First step is absolutely fix your deficiencies, like get the raw material your body needs to function well. And I'm not just speaking of the supplements, I'm also talking of protein because a lot of people in their old age, because their appetite has kind of come down, even stomach acid levels kind of go down, they're not eating the amount of protein that they need for their body. And protein is critical, it's like the vital force that builds the rest of your body. So get your nutrients in, eat the right kind of carbohydrates, get saturated fat because saturated fat is so important both for brain health and nerve health. And nerve function is something that goes down as well as old age happens, right? So deficiencies around micro and macronutrient, fix them. Second is please cut down seed oils. Like generally, most of the old people I know don't really eat too many of like burgers and pizzas and KFCs. Like the ones in their 65 and 70s, they've not been raised on that kind of food. So that's not such a big problem as much as it is with the younger generation. But they eat a lot of seed oils like groundnut oil, mustard oil, sesame seed oil. And these oils are inflammatory. These oils can ruin a lot of cells. They can cause oxidative stress. They can break down nerve tissue, nerve muscles. They can damage the brain also. So please, like to maintain the integrity of your body, avoid these seed oils. Use ghee, butter, or coconut oil. And then, like the third thing I want people to really like look at is their gut itself, because that gut health is where the rest of their health is. So if they're absorbing the right kind of food, if they're digesting and absorbing, they're going to feel good. If there is no infection, if the right kind of bacterial balance is there, the brain and the rest of their body is going to function well. Even their immune system is going to be super great. So the gut, and of course, if they have any underlying metabolic dysfunctions, right? Like if they have diabetes, or if they have high BP, or if they have heart conditions, or the homocysteine is high, which can lead to strokes. Because see, people think strokes or heart attacks are just about death, But a minor stroke or a minor heart, like a minor stroke
Yeah,
is
we can make you disable
yeah,
paralysis.
it'll leave you paralyzed, and then you'll be so dependent on other people in your life. Like even basic things like going to the washroom, you'll be dependent, which is like a basic function.
Inhuman.
It's inhuman, right? So strokes are not just about like the ultimate fatality of the stroke, but it can also be about like paralysis, even like a clot in your heart can lead to compromised heart function. My mom had that, right? Like her heart function had become lesser because there were blockages, and then she couldn't climb stairs. This is the age where most people think that, oh, abhi paisa वगैरह बना दिया, now we want to travel
But
and see the world.
depending on your experience, how much it is it possible to reverse all these conditions? What they have accumulated over a period of say 70,
Actually,
60,
it's
70.
quite possible, Avinash. You'll be surprised. Like people think they're 60, 65, and now nothing can be done, right? And we've seen such amazing turnarounds in just as less as
Yeah,
3 months. Because the body wants to heal. Like that. It's the body is designed to heal
you
and
just need to provide those nutrition
like
nutrients.
nutrients, do the right things. Like if there is a metabolic dysfunction, if there's insulin resistance, you work on reversing that. Thyroid, you work. If like homocysteine is high, which could be leading to strokes, you bring down homocysteine levels, right? So that's why the blood tests are important. That's why I keep telling everyone get your blood work done, because then we know now what to do.
Yeah.
Once we know what to do and we do that, the body responds beautifully.
Yes. So this is a metabolic part. What I have observed with a lot of my friends or colleagues, because I'm part of the running community in Pune. So a lot of people who focuses on the endurance running part or endurance partly. Most of the old age people, they will only go and walk. So that is a part of endurance that gives you cardiac health. But what I am reading and researching and coming to know about is muscle building part. So
Right.
a lot of people give up कि अभी muscle building is for the young people. It is not for us. But the kind of research is coming up. It is showing that your muscle degeneration is the main cause why your body starts sagging and why the metabolic
Absolutely.
function goes down because you have not taking care of your muscle or not building enough muscle to last. So even your functioning of your body or even your metabolic health, everything is tied to that muscle building activity. So what is your experience with this kind of whether we should have endurance or we should only recommend muscle building or there should be a balance of both?
I think, see, physical health and actually even mental health to a degree depends on three things when it comes to the pure physicality of the body itself, right? It's of course it's muscle strength. I spoke about this age-related sarcopenia where people lose muscle, which is what you're talking of. Your muscle is the most metabolically active tissue in your
Yes,
body. As
exactly.
long as you have good muscle mass, you are going to be really healthy, which is why you and I both work out now more than I did work out when I was younger, right?
Exactly.
So, strength training, weight training to increase muscle mass is super important. So is endurance because, like, endurance training, whatever form you could make that like running, you could make that martial arts,
Walking,
walking,
cycling, or any of that.
because that ensures that your entire cardiovascular system, that's your heart and your lungs, all of them are functioning well. And the third, which a lot of people forget, is flexibility, mobility. Because what happens now, people don't understand that mobility and flexibility, right? Like being mobile with your joints and your muscles is what really gives you protection against injury.
Yeah,
You could have a lot of muscle mass, but if you're stiff and tight, if everything is like really tight, you could still end up with a knee, hip,
injury.
elbow kind
Yeah,
of an injury, right?
right.
And you have started actually actively doing yoga in the recent times to kind of build that kind of mobility. So that mobility is very important. And like I'm digressing a little bit from here, but what I've seen is the physical body is also representation of the mind. So often a lot of these stored emotions, like the trauma that you experience, the relationship conflicts that you experience, the work related stressors, you might have parked it all in your early life. If you don't learn tools and techniques to release that and to let go of all of those things, those are going to be trapped inside your body because your body is just protecting you all the time. It's holding all of this, saying, I'll hold it as long as you're ready to release it. So meditation, breath work, somatic work, like really going deep inwards into your body, massage, these therapies also work beautifully in helping the body actually live longer in a more healthy way. um, it's like it's multi-pronged, but it has to be done. So it's all three, right? Like strength training, it's endurance, it's flexibility, plus this other woo-woo stuff, which is like breath work and meditation
Yeah.
and qigong, tai chi, all of that, and massage that really helps the body.
Cool, Mugdha. So thank you so much for giving this insight. If there are, three things all your uncles and aunts to do right now, what are those things would be?
Cool. And I didn't see too many questions coming from the audience today, but if you have any, like, leave them in the comment section if you're watching this sometime later as well, and we will respond to them. But thank you, Avinash, for being part of this as well. And from the two oldest people at ICHI, we are signing off. Next Tuesday, I'm doing a talk with Ria on maternal health and pregnancy, and you'll see a lot of insights from that as well, guys. All right. Until
Yes.
then,
So thank
bye
you,
bye.
Mugdha. Lovely. Bye. Thanks.
Bye bye.